What if you were only using 20% of your capacity to grow revenue, to get new clients, to operate the strategy that you were wanting to use? What if you only had access to 20% of your capacity? And what if that was all you've been able to use up until now? That the 80% has been parked on hold, waiting for you to access it, but not being used. What if you could access all 100% of your capacity? What if you could flip your success switch on, accessing 100% of your capacity, 100% of your ability to apply toward your business, to apply toward growing your following, to apply toward getting enrollments in your coaching or in your course or any of those things? Heck, to actually apply to anything in your life. When I discovered that I was only using 20% of my capacity and that 80%, an additional 80% was literally on autopilot in my subconscious mind, and it was running 80 to 90% of my decisions that I was making, the actions that I was taking, and therefore the results I was getting. I became obsessed with learning how to access it and learning how to ditch the things that don't serve me. And I want to talk about that today because I love serving entrepreneurs, go-getters, dreamers, visionaries, those that are changing the world, wanting to honor God, wanting to serve people, wanting to change people's lives. But yet, if you are like me, I wonder if you're frustrated with that thought of like, I'm trying all the strategies. I'm making the goals. I'm setting the vision. I'm taking the steps, yet it still feels like something is missing. If that's you, put puzzle piece in the chat. Put puzzle piece in the chat because if it's still missing, if it still feels like it's elusive, if it feels like every morning you wake up with all the optimism and all the desire of your heart and know that you're called by God and know that you're meant to change the world and know that you have the ability to do so based on what you've been through, what you've created, but it seems like accessing or getting access to the business results, the sales, the client load, it just isn't getting there, then this is going to be a powerful life for you because what I'm talking about today is how do you access the full 100% of your capacity when 80% of it is on autopilot in your subconscious mind? And what I mean by that is, God created your brain to truly unleash you into your vision and your calling in your life. Like before you were born, you were called. I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, the plans to prosper you, not to harm you, to give a future and a hope and a calling. And that was destined on your life before you were born. So if this is destined on my life before I'm born, and God says he gives us everything that we need to be able to accomplish this, then why can't I accomplish this? This was the cry of my heart when my business was doing well, but not well enough. I was getting results, but not enough, right? It just wasn't working the way I wanted it to. And then I discovered this missing 80%. This 80% of my daily decisions and therefore my actions and my results are running not from this thinking part of our mind and our prefrontal cortex that's behind our forehead, but is running based on subconscious automation of belief. Now, let me define that word belief. Belief is something that has been repeated enough around you that your subconscious now has automated it. And it runs 80% of every decision, every action that you take, and therefore the results that you get. So when I discovered that everything that I was doing to try to create a business and a relationship and great marriage and be a great mom and all those things was running on 20%, yet God gave us capacity for 100%. That's became my obsession. And that's what created the NeuroCoach model, where you can actually access 100% of it. Because let me tell you, if we haven't done this, if you haven't understood that your brain is the operating system that is literally informing your results, that as you think is how you are. You hear that on Instagram. If you just think better, you do better, right? That is true. But how you're even thinking 80% of the time is firing from that automatic subconscious process. It's called automation. So what do? Well, to access the 80% so that we're operating in full capacity, 100% capacity, 100% results, 100% of the time, we've got to do three things. We've got to clarify what the heck is in my subconscious. We've got to ditch or remove or erase. In our world, we call it erase or synaptically prune away the things that no longer align. And if here's the thing, in your environment of origin, your childhood of origin, whether it was amazing, horrible, or somewhere in between, there were stories told to you about your worth, about money, about your ability, your capacity, your worth in the world, all those things. They were spoken over you and around you so much that your brain took that and said, well, we're in a repetition now, so I'm going to automate that. And then that automated part of your brain fires without your knowledge or permission. That's why thoughts fire in your brain without your knowledge and permission. It's because it's coming from that place. And so what we're going to be doing next week is I am going to teach you the steps as an entrepreneur that wants to get to 6 figures and on to 7 figures and on to 8 figures, honor God, change people's lives, make an impact. If you really, really want that. Now, why do I say really, really want that? Because a lot of people will say they want it, but when it comes to doing what it takes to make it happen, then we just try to do what we've always done and hope it gets a better result. So if that's you, I'm going to tell you it's probably not going to be a good investment of your time next week. But if you are like, I am ready, I know that I can't keep doing what I've always done and get a result I've never had. Like I've got to shift things different. Listen, if smarter goals worked, you'd have every goal that you've ever wanted to achieve that you set forward in January already accomplished. The only reason that hasn't happened, and there's only one, is because the capacity, the 80% that is stored in your subconscious, that is running 80% of your decisions, actions, and results, you're not aware of. You haven't accessed. It's not your fault. We're not taught this in school. Like this is the biggest sin of all, is that we're not taught how to access, decide, and operate through this system of the subconscious that makes 80% of our success easy, fun, inevitable. God didn't create it to be something that got hidden and hijacked. God created the subconscious so that 80% of what you did just happened on autopilot toward your vision, toward the dream, toward the goal, toward the desire of your heart, toward that generational shift. But unfortunately, we are in a fallen world and it did get hijacked by stories about money when you were growing up, stories about your worth, stories about who you are. As my friend Myron says, your lie identity, the lies that you believed about who you are instead of truly believing the identity of who you've been called to, right? That calling that was before your first breath was breathed, had a destiny on your life. And so accessing 100%, tell me in the chat, accessing 100% of your capacity is faster or slower than only operating on 20% of your capacity. Tell me in the chat. Do you want 80%? Do you want like all your capacity, or do you want to keep operating on just the 20% that you can use through your prefrontal cortex? I don't know about you, but when I discovered this, it was like, wait a minute. 80% of decisions that I make, actions that I take are being governed by this part of my mind. I better find out. First of all, I better clarify what the heck's in there. And the things that are in there that are supporting my dreams, visions, callings, goals, then they get to stay. But I better erase those things that I did not choose. And I better automate my subconscious so that it's running 100% of the time toward where I want to go instead of a tug of war against my dreams and my vision. This is the difference maker between those that are at 7 and 8 figures. They've tapped into this already. Those that are operating in the top 3% of the world have tapped into this already and literally not tried to out hustle or outrun their subconscious, but wire their subconscious to win, wire their subconscious for wealth, right? So in order for us to truly access 100% of your capacity, your ability, your divine power, wisdom, knowledge, and ability, we have to flip that success switch on. We have to clarify, erase, and automate so that we know that that subconscious is in full alignment with where we're going and is no way in a tug of war like a big old bully pulling me back toward where I don't want to be. It's human nature to try to use what we've always done to get what we've never had. But my friend, the next few days next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the 8th, 9th, and 10th, we are doing our Unleash Entrepreneur live challenge. It's a live video series and challenge where I'm going to walk you through first, how do you access that part of yourself? How do you remove those things that are getting in your way? You know, that success sucking stories, comparison, overwhelm, procrastination, perfectionism, where we believe that those things are actually defaults to our personality, defects to our personality. They're actually neurochemicals trying to keep you in alignment with an automation that doesn't serve you. So next week, Monday, 8th, 9th, and 10th, if you want to comment the word unleashed, we'll get you an invite into the room. But I'm going to be unpacking for you. How do you access the full 100% of your capacity toward your vision? And here's what I want you to think about. If you've been doing as good as you've been doing on 20%, imagine what life will be like when you're operating your thinking, your emotions, your beliefs, your decisions, your actions, your results, 100% is in alignment with where you want to go, where you're called in the destiny you have on your life. Put the word speed in the chat if you're like, I'm going to be going so much faster when I'm using 100% instead of just the 20% that I've been trying to willpower and out hustle my way using, right? So this is the most important event that you will go to all year, because here's what I need to tell you. Here was the bad news I had to uncover. It didn't matter how many strategies, tactics, marketing, PR, all those things that I would chase down to learn differently and more of, I was still only doing that with the 20% of my prefrontal cortex, with that part of my thinking brain, where once you have the whole subconscious brain on board and you no longer have those brake pedal beliefs slowing you down, then speed becomes inevitable toward your business, toward your goals, toward the desires of your heart, toward your calling. You thought it was something about you. I thought it was me, like something inherently with me that was restraining me from getting to the next level. Maybe you feel that way too. What I discovered and what I want you to know and you to be able to get access to the how is the only reason that you haven't accessed all the dreams and all the desires of your heart is because you haven't accessed all of the capacity that your brain has to get them. We got to clarify. We got to erase the things that don't belong there anymore, that do not serve you. And we get to automate the vision, the goals, and the dreams in the subconscious so it aligns and gives you 100% capacity toward them. This is going to be a powerful week. How we do this is we do a video series and a live event. So video series, I think the trailer has released already, and you can see that trailer at unleashedentrepreneur.com. Or if you just comment Unleashed, we'll get you signed up and we'll send that to you. And then next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'm unpacking. How do you access it? How do you know what's in there? How do you keep the things that are good, ditch the things that are not, and automate it so it's running 100% of your results, 100% of the time? Speed is the result of this. If you're operating on 20%, imagine operating on 100%. And intuitively, I knew this. I wonder if that's you too. Like intuitively, I'm like, there's just some piece missing. And then if you were like me, I was jumping from, oh, it must be this strategy. Well, no, that strategy only kind of worked. It must be this thing. And I would jump to this webinar, all this training, the strategic training, because we're taught that the answer is outside of us, right? Scripture teaches us how to actually train our brain to allow 100% access. I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, because you were meant to have 80% of your daily decisions, steps, actions, and results coming with such ease and such lightness and such joy. Just write the word simple. If you're like, it can be simple. I just didn't have access to this part. And when I have access to this part, all of the things, all the strategies, all those things start to work because they're in alignment and they're no longer in a tug of war. Your dream on one side and your old life, your old stories on the other. So next week is going to be powered. It's powerful. It's called the Unleashed Entrepreneur. It's how to flip your success switch on in your brain and skyrocket and speed to the results and create a year's worth of goals in 67 days. That's what we're going to be doing together. This is the missing piece. We're sitting at April. It's been a few months since January. If you aren't where you want to be yet, then I've got to tell you from the bottom of my heart, don't chase another strategy, another goal until you learn how to tap into this invisible yet very, very powerful tool to unleash as an entrepreneur and become that vision you see in your eyes. All right. That's the one lever we're going to pull together over the 3 days next week, where you learn how to finally ditch those success sucking stories that the overwhelm, the procrastination, the perfectionism, things like that we're getting in the way. You'll discover how those are just chemicals firing to keep you the same, and how to access that part of you and unleash it so that your results become inevitable. Karen, good to see you. I love all of you guys jumping in. I cannot wait to be live with you next week. It's one of my favorite times of the year when we do the Unleashed Entrepreneur. Make sure you're there live. Nothing is more important than getting this piece to the puzzle. The top 3%, they have it. Those people at multi 8 figures, they have it. So if you're trying to create any impact in the world, I always love to think about the fact that what runs inside your head determine what results come outside of your head. And so I'm going to be unpacking that for you with you next week. We're going to be actually doing it in like application style, because I want you to get momentum. I want you to get breakthrough. I want you to get access. And here's the greatest news. Once you know how to do this, that feeling of stuck and overwhelm becomes a distant memory. Because the power that's available to you when you are in 100% of your capacity, going 100% toward the calling and the vision and the dream that you know you were destined for. All right, that's what I have live for you. I cannot wait to see you next week. You can either comment Unleashed in the chat, or you can go to unleashedentrepreneur.com. The trailer for the video is there, and there's a button right underneath it to get registered for our event together. It is an invite only, like I'm inviting you right now. You got to get a seat at the table. We're doing it in Zoom. This is something that is going to change the trajectory of your business and life from the moment you start learning it. Like you will be going, I would say like this way, like you're growing, but it's just not, and then it skyrockets. And so it's my honor, my privilege, and my desire, my heart to see you get there and to see you become unleashed and know that you're worth it. All right. Have a great day. I'll see you next week live at 12 p.m. Central, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Unleashed Entrepreneur. We're going to clarify, we're going to erase, and we're going to automate your success and flip that success switch on once and for all. All right. I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.